Hello and welcome to the Film Yap podcast. I'm thrilled to be joined once again by my friend and partner, Alec Toombs.
Thanks for having me, Chris.
And so we are here to talk about the one of the bigger movies of the summer, Steven Spielberg's Disclosure Day, which we've probably already hopefully read Alec's review of it, which I would say was pretty positive, pretty effusive. You're a stickler with the stars, man. It's pretty rare that I see you give more than four and a half. I'm not sure if I've ever seen you give a five-star review.
I'll throw the fives and four and a halfs out. Just this year hasn't been up to snuff with so far. I mean, Project Hail Mary, I loved. I think that's
Oh
my
yeah,
only five of the year so far.
probably my only five-star movie of the year too. So we just want to hash it out. Um, it would behoove me to say that uh, opinions have been mixed since I'm kind of, a little bit down on the film compared to you. It's really not the case. I would say it's pretty overwhelmingly positive. I think when I checked it earlier today on the Rotten Tomato meter, it was sitting at about 85%, which for the critic score, that's pretty strong. You don't see too many movies 85% and above. So I
I'm
think
curious.
you're
I'm curious. What would your rating out of five be?
five or out of five,
Yes.
three out of five.
Okay. I mean, I know some of your contemporaries at IFJA. I think per Letterboxd, I've seen a lot of them react to the movie in a similar fashion.
Yeah, I think maybe the Indiana coterie is maybe a little more negative than the nationwide one. I saw our friend Evan Dossi over at Midwest Film Journal. I think also gave it a again, not hateful but negative review. So
I
yeah,
think like middling slash positive review.
yeah. Basically said like something like Spielberg is old and has lost his stuff.
Or to rock lens flare. I feel like I'm in this movie right now.
Well, for those who don't know, if you haven't seen it yet, so it is, I think we said probably the fifth Spielberg movie that kind of directly confronts the whole idea of alien visitors. And
I
it,
think I'm an odd man out and counting Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, but aliens were
yeah,
pretty
that
present in that
counts. I think
movie.
that counts. But obviously, E.T. and Close Encounters of the third kind from early in his career, really directly taking that on. I don't think we're giving anything away because the trailer is that there are in fact aliens out there. Is the whole premise of the movie. And eventually, they're going to spend 2 hours and 25 minutes before, revealing that that is so. So before I start off with my thing, you just say why you really enjoyed this film and just liked its energy and, give me your vision of your written review for the folks here listening or watching.
Sure. I do think Spielberg is still a master of geography and an action sequence. There's not a ton of action sequences in this movie, but the ones that are there, I think, are pretty great. I will happily say the CG animals that look so poor in the trailers, they look better in the final feature, other than the fox. The fox, I think they need to borrow the one from Lars von Trier's Antichrist or something. But otherwise, most of the CG animals look good. Um, I really love the tension of the movie. I think Spielberg is a master of tension. I do think his action sequences were great in the movie, and I think Emily Blunt is really great in this movie. I think a lot of the female performers had far more interesting roles to play than their male counterparts. Emily Blunt was great. I thought Eve Hewson, Bono's daughter, was interesting in the movie, and Elizabeth Marvel, I believe is her name, plays a nun in the movie. She's a great character actress. She's married to great character actor Bill Camp. She was great in the movie with very little screen time. I think like a lot of the most interesting moments of the movie came via Elizabeth Marvel.
Yeah, I would agree with it. I think the movie has good female energy. Um, I think a lot of the Josh O'Connor, kind of the male lead, pretty well underwritten. Really just didn't make a strong impression like Emily Blunt's character it did. Um,
I think he's a great actor. He just didn't have a lot to do. Like
yeah,
I
I
was
mean,
super impressed by him in the last Knives Out movie. I thought he was great in Challengers, which is a movie I know I like a lot better than you do, but I thought he was fascinating in that movie.
Yeah.
He's serviceable and likable in this movie, but he's not given a ton to do.
Yeah, I mean, then you had Coleman, kind of the two other, I wouldn't call them main characters, but the secondary characters would be Coleman Domingo, an actor I just absolutely love. I mean, honestly, I
Yeah,
think he's
and
doing some of the best work in film over the last 3 or 4, 5 years.
agreed,
Um,
but they didn't give him a lot to chew into in this one. He's just kind of the noble Negro who's there helping them. Like he knows more than them. He's ahead of the curve and he's trying to help people. That's pretty much the arc. He's a talented actor. I mean, he was fantastic in Michael, playing a much more multi-tiered dimensional character. He's fine in this movie. I mean, I don't think he could be bad in a movie.
No, I mean he's there to be the reassuring, benevolent figure in contrast to the Colin Firth character. Those two are really obviously the antagonists. But the Colin Firth plays the head of I'm trying to remember the name of it.
Wardex.
Yeah, Wardex. Thank you. Company that basically is like the conglomerate that's been charged of keeping the secret that aliens have been visiting the Earth for 75 years, or more. I think the first iteration described as like 1947, whatever it is. Um, the premise is hard for me to swallow. The idea that, I know everyone's just, oh, it's all about evil corporations. I don't care how evil or powerful a corporation is. There's no way you could have, multiple alien events happening, impacting, witnessed or impacted by thousands of people over 80 years that the word would not get out, and the proof would not get out. So, I had trouble swallowing the premise. I mean, there's definitely a conspiracy theory angle to the movie. That's part of its energy. Is it's diving into that. You've heard all this and Area 51 and yada yada yada. And it's all true because we've even had like ex-presidents, like ex-President Obama, kind of blithely saying, "Oh yeah, there's alien stuff," and then being scared and kind of walking it back afterwards. Um, so it's one of those things where it's like I know where the movie is starting and I know where it's going. I know there's going to be a reveal of alien stuff, without being specific, toward the end. But really, it's just about this mostly this foursome of characters, the woman and the man. That she's a weathercaster, meteorologist. He's a former hacker, employed by Vortex, and they're both now sort of thrown into each other from two sides of the country, and eventually come together as sort of the appointed alien liaisons, we'll say. So yeah, I mean, but and Colin Firth, I always enjoy Colin Firth. Generally playing reassuring, heroic figures. So really, really sinking his teeth into a villainous role was nice. Even in a
They kind
stupid,
of humanize him in the movie, I felt, and it was interesting to see Firth playing a role that differs greatly from what he normally plays.
but as you said in his review, they still humanize him. I don't think Steven Spielberg is capable of making a movie where even the antagonist is just this cackling, evil, maniacal figure. Everyone. I mean, humanism is the central core of what the Spielberg oeuvre is about.
Sure.
He treats everybody as humans, even the bad guys.
Would the mayor and Jaws be human, or like Nedry in Jurassic Park? I mean, both of those guys are. Can we curse on here?
Huh? Oh, yeah.
We, those guys are both shitbags.
Well, but human shitbags.
Sure. I
Uh,
mean, maybe you can relate to them. Nedry has money problems and feels like he's being overlooked. The mayor and Jaws, I guess he wants to look out for the tourism industry, but at what cost?
yeah. I guess getting back to, and I don't dislike the movie. I have said before, and I'll say again, I have never disliked a Steven Spielberg movie. Never. I like and in many cases love his films. Um, I know a lot of people like to say that Scorsese is the greatest living director. I would put Spielberg above him, just for the consistency of his work, the breadth. He tackles all sorts of different genres. He challenges himself as a filmmaker. And I guess that's my main kind of disappointment here is I didn't feel he was challenging himself so much
Did you
here.
feel like this was like a greatest hits,
Yeah, I
maybe?
mean, the pieces, and I don't think I we saw each other after this press screening the other night.
Yeah, you
Um,
seem cooler on the movie than you do
yeah,
now. And
yeah,
honestly, I've cooled on the movie a little bit since we spoke.
yeah. That's interesting. But I mean, the line I said, and I mean, I was trying to do a quip, but it's true. Is it's like they remade E.T., but instead of focusing on Elliot and the alien, they said, let's focus on Peter Coyote and all the other scientists and people behind the scenes running around chasing, trying to find the alien and whatever government agencies fighting with each other. And I was just
I
like,
did kind of ruminate on that point after you said that. I'm like, that was a pretty astute and interesting take on the movie. So kudos to you.
yeah, I don't know. It's like you say, it is a very action light movie. There's no
It's
shootouts
a
or
very
anything like
talky
that, but
movie with some chasing.
yeah, there's
It's
there's
talky
one
and there's chase scenes.
yeah, there's one good car chase scene that lasts maybe 80 seconds. Um, and just seeing the fantastic camera work and the vision and everything like that. And gotta say, the musical score by John Williams. Um, I hope he lives another 94 years because I want him to keep making movie scores.
I didn't realize going in that Williams did the score. I'm like, whoever is scoring this movie, I figured John Williams in '94 wasn't scoring movies anymore. I was just like, whoever is scoring this movie is aping Williams brilliantly and doing a really good job.
Yeah,
And then,
it's a great mood
well,
setter kind of score. It's not like, that has like the great melodic crescendo that like you can immediately come out and you're humming, like the theme to Jurassic
sure,
Park. Um,
this ain't Star Wars, this ain't Jurassic Park, but he's doing good work that builds the tension in Spielberg sequences.
yeah, and he never stifles a scene. He never intrudes upon a scene. And that's just the work of a true master. And there's different, all different kinds of musical scores. Like another one of my favorite music, Ennio Morricone, the great Italian. I mean, his music was much more upfront, even trying to be another character in the movie, whereas Williams is very much, you know, to the side, attached, commenting on, enhancing, pushing a little, holding back. But I really appreciate both approaches.
I have a strange feeling if you see this movie again, you're going to like it better.
You're probably right. And I will say, so when I say I've never disliked the Spielberg movies, the ones in more recent history that I was just really didn't have much reaction to was The Terminal. And I've rewatched it a couple of times since, and I liked it more.
It's a
Um,
modern day Frank Capra movie.
huh?
It's a modern day Frank Capra movie.
Yeah, I would say that's a pretty good take. At this point, probably my least favorite is of Spielberg movies, probably 1941, which again I don't dislike. It's just the one I kind of have the least, not even like the most negative reaction to. I just have the least reaction to.
It's
And since
messy. It's
yeah, and since
messy, but there's a lot of good there.
yeah, and since I've seen like the Terminal more and things like that, I've loved it more. I think I did a really backward column within the last year or so. My favorite Spielberg movie is actually the one that most people don't even haven't even heard of. Or if you say the title, most people go, "Oh, what's that?" Is Empire of the Sun, 1987 film. Christian Bale's real breakout role as a child actor. I won't belabor that, but go check on the archives of the film app for my column on that. Yeah, your what you said about Disclosure Day feeling like kind of like a Spielberg's greatest hits volume resonated with me. I hadn't really thought of it in those terms, but when you mentioned it, I was like, yeah, I mean, obviously you can see it borrowing a lot, a little bit from War of the Worlds, obviously a lot from E.T., a lot from Close Encounters of the Third Kind. A lot of people have even supposed that this is sort of an unofficial sequel to Close Encounters. I don't really see that.
He does come back to Indiana, our home state.
Yeah, I did like
Um,
that with it. What was the name of that hotel? The Indian. It was like,
Indiana in like I N dash Deanna.
yeah, I think that was Spielberg ragging on us a little, which is
He's
okay.
from he was born in Ohio,
Yeah,
so I mean he doesn't. I know he grew up in Arizona, born in Ohio. He doesn't have a lot of room to talk.
yeah. I will say so. He wrote this was so Spielberg. This was actually a Spielberg original story that he wrote and then shaped up with screenwriter David. Is it Cope?
Cap,
Um,
Kep,
yeah, who he's worked with. I think 5 or 6 times, going back to
this is
Jurassic Park.
the
I
fifth
believe
time.
they did War of the Worlds together.
Yep.
So you can see a lot of the things going over there. My main issues with the film, I guess, would be with the screenplay. It's very sprawl. I mean, I don't mind a 2 hour, 25-minute movie if it earns that time. I really feel like with what they had, they could have brought this in about a half an hour lighter.
It could have
Um,
been tighter, but I'll be honest, I was never bored watching this.
I was not bored either, but I did have stretches where I was struggling to be engaged. Um, I hate to say, with the Emily Blunt character, really to me, you know, owning the spotlight, and the Josh O'Connor character kind of not so much. My attitude was almost, did we need both characters? Could they
That's
have
an
combined
interesting
those two
idea.
characters into one figure? They could have
That's
had
an
all the
interesting
chase
idea.
scenes. I mean, you could have done everything uh, with just
He was
one
kind of a
character.
weenie in the movie, but I thought Wyatt Russell was actually pretty fun and kind of amusing in the
Yeah, he
movie.
plays the boyfriend of the Emily Blunt character, and he's good for not just some comedic relief, but he has a couple of soulful moments. Yeah, he's turning into a really nice actor, and not just because of his parents. Uh, I'm trying to think what else. Like I say, love the Coleman Domingo presence, but as you say, it's a movie that exists within a very narrow bookends. He starts here, he ends here. There's not a lot of movement. Same thing with the Colin Firth character, but we get a little bit of a humanist arc from him. I hate to say it, and you'd mentioned the actress's name, but plays the Josh O'Connor character's girlfriend.
Eve Hewson,
Yeah, thanks. Again, nice presence. Did we need her in the movie?
I
I don't
think
know.
she served as a great tension point. I was concerned for her well being a lot of
Well,
times in the movie,
you're
and I think
exactly
they
right.
lead into that.
Right. She's like an empathetic presence, and we don't want her to be hurt. Like the very first scene in the movie is she shows up and she's been beaten up.
Pretty much from the time she showed up until the credits rolled, I was concerned for her well being.
Yeah, but then, and then she like disappears for, I mean,
Right.
it must be for about 30 to 40 minutes of the movie. She just disappears and then shows up at the end.
You are not wrong. I will give you that.
And see, that's what I'm saying. It's like I think they could
I
have
think
gone with one character. Um, Probably should have been the Emily Blunt character. And she has the best arc. There's a reason that, I mean, she's the biggest star in the movie. There's a reason that she's showcased in all the trailers. I think a lot of people are going to go in thinking. Here's my other takeaway about this Closure Day movie is I very well, we'll see when audiences start seeing it. So far, the critics have been very enthusiastic. I don't think it's going to be the movie that most people went into expecting to see.
I think that is fair. It's not a lot of bombast and spectacle. It's pretty talky, and I think it's largely a movie made for adults. Um, I have no idea how it's going to do at the box office. I don't think it's going to make the sort of money that these young upstart horror filmmakers have been making the last couple weeks.
And
I
good for
don't think it's
them.
going to. Yeah, happy for them. They made good movies. The movies have made money. Good for you, gentlemen. I don't think it's going to make the movie or the money Scary Movie made last weekend. It's probably going to open about half of that, maybe 45 million, and I could see it dropping off. I could
Wow.
see the ending of this movie angering a lot of people. I like the ending. I think they probably had no other choice other than the ending they gave us. But I wouldn't have mind. I would have been curious to see the other ending. But it's
Yeah.
kind of like a No Country for Old Men thing. Like you don't get the shootout.
Yeah. Another disappointing aspect to the movie is people are, of course, because we live in this political age that we do, that people are reading their own priors into their interpretation of the film. I've heard some people say like they think
Sorry,
it's,
probably guilty. I think I
yeah,
wrote.
yeah.
Sorry.
I don't mind that, if it comes from a place of analysis and authentic feeling, where I think a lot of people are just expressing their anxiety into every pop culture artifact, that then it
But
gets a little tiresome.
we also live in somewhat anxiety riddled times right now.
Yeah, and I think that's maybe one thing that the movie does plug into well is that sense of anxiety of like things are unhinged. But there's this political backdrop in the movie that's so vague and fuzzy that it's supposed to be that the end of the world is maybe coming and we're on the verge of a nuclear war. There's something happening with the Koreas, and it's so kept off to the side and in the background that there's absolutely no sense of urgency or fear. We get one scene where like they stop at a gas station and people are like lined up getting gas and getting food and ice and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, well, where did that come from?
That
Um,
probably could have been handled better. I would agree.
yeah, I mean, it was like there was like so little of it that you were barely aware of it, and you certainly did not internalize the fear like I think they were wanting. And the whole idea is it is will the revelation of aliens on Earth stop us from the human being from our self-destructive ways, which is something we've seen over and over from the Watchmen graphic novel and going on way back. That just that felt really slapped together, cheap, not well
Maybe
done.
I'm giving too much love to the oomph that Spielberg has in the moments that really work. There is a sequence late in the film where I think he was very clever in the way he staged it. I don't really want to get specifics about it because I think it might be kind of spoilery, but he's very creative in an action sequence late in the movie that I thought was played in a very fun and interesting way. That gave the movie a lot of weight to me. The chase scene was great. Emily Blunt is great. Um, those made the day for me.
Yeah, it was interesting. So Spielberg is, I'm not sure how old now. I think in his late 70s.
He's
Uh,
probably in his mid to late 70s. I think he's a contemporary of my parents,
yeah,
maybe slightly older than,
so his last movie was The Fablemans 4 years ago.
which is a
Um,
movie I adored. I think it like probably in his top five or top 10 movies.
Certainly probably his most personal movie, autobiographical and everything like that. And going back 2021, he did West Side Story, which I didn't think I was going to love, and I loved. Ready Player One, which I thought was really great. The Post, the BFG, Bridge of Spies. I mean, that's basically Lincoln 2012. That's basically his filmography over the last 14, 15 years. I mean, to me, he feels like he's still at the top of his game. I just didn't like this particular movie.
That's fair. You like Spielberg, but you didn't like this movie.
Yeah, I mean, and it's weird. I go up and down on particular filmmakers. I mean, I film, like Ridley Scott is probably one of my all-time favorite directors. He's made some absolute honkers. I mean, some terrible White Squall. I mean, he's made some terrible
You
movies.
like that movie.
Yeah, Spielberg to me, has never made a bad movie, and even this Disclosure Day, I don't think is a bad movie. I think it's like I say, it feels like a pastiche of themes from Spielberg's past, particularly talking about not aliens, alienation, anxiety, conspiracy theories. This feeling I think we've had over the last few years in our politics, where we feel people are feeling angry and unmoored. I think that's what the movie is trying to tap into and does with some success. But just as a story, just as moving the plot from A to B to C to D, it feels clunky. It feels the pacing to me is sometimes off.
I
Like I
could
say,
see that to some extent.
individual characters and sequences stand out, but overall it was just a whole lot of just yeah, yeah.
Spielberg's filmmaking, just the zhuzh, like how he can do tension, how he can do action. That carried the day. Emily Blunt carried the day. I won't argue with you that David Kep's script maybe could have used another draft or two.
Yeah, I threw a few more rewrite washes through the old
But I
rewrite.
will applaud them both for giving women interesting roles in this movie, and I do think they kind of carry the day.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, like I say, my top suggestion would be write out the Josh O'Connor character and everything from his story arc, put that into the Emily Blunt character. Um, and plus, we have a lot of movies these days that just sort of have like these generic hacker characters, and they're written. It's clear. I mean, no offense to Kep and Spielberg, it's clear they're old dudes who know nothing about computers and the black web, and they just have to kind of say like, yeah, because he's a math genius and he can do all this stuff, and
Well,
they
I don't
really
know.
don't get
Kep
it.
wrote Black Bag last year, that stuff sold a lot better in that movie, I think.
Yeah, yeah, I like that one a lot. So, well, it sounds like we're maybe not as far apart on Disclosure Day as I first thought when we were comparing notes after the movie. It seemed like you were really high on. I maybe sounded like I was really down on it. I was not. You
Yeah, I
maybe.
thought you were coming in like 1.5 or something. Like,
No, I would give it a 3 out of 5. I mean, well, let's this way. When I link my review on tomatoes, I'm going to give it a rotten, not a fresh.
okay, okay.
Um,
I,
which,
if I were a Rotten Tomatoes approved critic, I would be a fresh.
yeah, oh, definitely. Believe me, it's overrated. Um, for people who are interested in knowing, uh, most of the time, most critics opt to have their reviews automatically uploaded to Rotten Tomatoes, and so it decides whether you're fresh or rotten. Opted to manually upload mine, and my thing is, to me, if I'm giving it a fresh review, that means I'm recommending this movie to you. I'm recommending it, and I can't quite say that's what I feel about Disclosure Day. It's not a bad movie. I can't quite recommend it.
And I would recommend it on the basis of Emily Blunt and the power of Steven Spielberg's filmmaking.
Well, and on that note, Alex, it's been great been talking to you. I keep selling these as like we're gonna duke it out about these movies, and of course, uh, I think we like each other too much to say nasty things. And I appreciate hearing your opinions, even when I don't agree with them, because they're always to me well thought out and well argued. And that's to me the what heralds a good critic.
Thanks, Chris. I appreciate that.
All right, and on that note, head on over and make sure if you haven't to read Alex's full review and all our other coverage. We appreciate you, and thanks for tuning in.